Alright, what we're gonna do is go back. Way back. Well, kinda. We'll start with Buxom and Mog. Together they had 9 children. 6 girls, followed by 3 boys. They named their youngest daughter Maggie. She married Fred. They had 2 sons and 1 daughter. I am the oldest of them. I'm Kendra.
The middle boy, they named Herbie. Well, his name is Aubrey, but we'll get into that later. He married Deborah, and they had 3 girls. I am the oldest of them. I'm Tawana.
The first girl and oldest of Buxom and Mog's children was named Blossom. She married a man named Eugene. Well, we call him Gene. And they had 9 kids, between them 7 boys and 2 girls. The oldest girl was named Myra, and she married David, and they had 3 kids, 2 boys, and the oldest was a girl, and that's me, Simone.
Of Blossom and Gene's kids, the tallest of the boys was Jerome. He married Juanita, and they had 2 sons, the oldest of which was actually the first grandchild that the 2 would share, and that's me, Will, but they call me Gene. So, y'all catch all that? Anyway, hey cousin!
All right, folks, so we're talking about religion on Sunday.
Yes.
Religion on Sunday.
Religion.
Hey.
This carries on from our conversation from our last podcast where we were talking about how our particular family is just super religious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So, Mona, you were going before I accidentally cut you off.
I think I was just saying, I was just piggybacking on the fact that you did mention that we're talking about religion on a Sunday, which is so crazy because churches are closed now. So now churches are kind of forced to do like live Facebook church sermons and sometimes even Zoom church sermons. And if I'm not mistaken, the Bible would not agree with such things. Contradictions are in the Bible and how they're going against them now. It's like, okay, so are you going to go all the way by the book, all the way down, or are you not? You know what I'm saying? And like, if that be the case, then you should not be eating shellfish. You should not be mixing fabrics. You should not have tattoos. You should not be wearing lipstick. You should not have your ears pierced. Like, but you want to come at me because I want to be
gay. Not because I want to be gay.
I think that's a great way to start this conversation off. I had to get out of the car because that little baby, he meant he was gonna make noise. I think a lot of times people take the Bible in the sense of all the external things. Our spirit man has nothing to do with lipstick. Our spirit man has nothing to do with us being in a building. Our spirit man has nothing to do with navigating through this earth with wisdom and insight. And the church, unfortunately for me, even though we grew up in a religious family, I felt just so unprepared for life because we were told to act according to the Bible or act according to the way we were raised. And my mom raised me and my 2 sisters from the Bible. My mom used to answer the phone, praise the Lord.
All of us.
Absolutely.
Hello.
All of us.
That was the way.
Hell is low. Hell is low. Not hello.
Yeah.
I never heard that. Wow. I did not know that's why.
The preachers used to say stuff like that. Don't answer the phone hello because hell is low. Praise the Lord.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Right. Let us know that your house, as for you and your house, you will serve the Lord. Like,
you gonna serve the Lord.
They took those literal meanings and held on to it for their life. And for me, religion hasn't worked for me. But spirituality has. So I'm gonna shut up and let y'all.
My thing with religion and what I've kind of gathered, and everyone has like a journey to kind of find themselves and how they relate to religion anyway. My thing is that the Bible itself, we were taught to listen to it and think about it literally. But in my studies, I've kind of found that the Bible is basically it's a story about you. Basically marrying the spirit man to the physical man. You know what I'm saying? So these parables and things of that nature were more symbolism to be able to get a message across. But if you try to live the Bible basically the way they teach you in church, you basically can't do anything. Everything is a sin. Everything that's natural to a human becomes a sin. So you're afraid to even move and move on with your life. Just for the simple fact that everything you do, oh God, I don't want to go to hell, but you're living in hell because you're afraid to make any moves or enjoy life for what it is.
That's one of the things that I feel too. Like I feel like the biggest thing is about the interpretation of the Bible. And back to what Simone was saying, like the thing is, like as it's my knowledge up to this point in my own, religious studies and spirituality, that it never specifically says that you have to be in a building. It says that you have to honor God in the temple. And if your body is the temple of the Lord, then you then can serve God anywhere. And the thing is that gets us messed up and honestly puts a terrible taste in the mouth of now this whole generation that we are a part of, is that there was a pastor somewhere along the way that made it to where, oh, you gotta come to church. And so now it's been ingrained to us to where we can't even really differentiate that opinion versus the true fact that's actually documented in the Bible. And so it's been carted by so many pastors and so many people for so long that we think it is the word and we think it is law. But it's like, no, that's not the case at all. And so here we are now where it's the hypocrisy is being pointed out now. So it's like, well, we don't have no choice but to be virtual now, just like Simone was saying. So now what? Like, are we all out of God's will currently? You know what I'm saying? By default? And it's like, no, because that was never real to begin with. And just like y'all was talking about, there's so many things that get carted on us on how I went to church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday for Bible study,
Revival.
Thursday night, revival, like was a whole week long.
Oh my God,
come home and do homework and then go to
Yes.
revival, be out there all late at night, but they won't let you watch no TV past no certain amount at night. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it was a lot, y'all. And then turn it back around for Thursday choir rehearsal, then Friday night service, and then back all Sunday morning for Sunday school before Sunday morning service and Sunday night service. So when I tell you I got out of my parents' house and I was zero church for a very long time, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, listen, I want my life. Like, God, give me my life back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Junie, just to kind of piggyback off of some of the points you made. The first thing is the Bible. Well, not the Bible. I'm gonna say the religion of Christianity was given to us by the slave owners. They gave us that because of control. That's the first thing. The relationship. The second thing is the relationship that, and well, go back a little bit more. As a slave, if all you got is a Jesus to hold on and hope for that things will get better, that's what you put all your faith and your hope in. That's the first. The second thing is they taught us that God is some spiritual being outside of us.
Right. Yeah.
And you looking up. What are you looking up for? What's up there? The sky, the sun? What's up there? God lives inside of me. If I am an extension of him and I was made in his own image, then that means that he is in me and I am in him, and everything around is him because he created all things. So the external factor of God being on the side of you is another reason why people get it twisted. And then the last thing is the relationship that I have with the Most High. Junie, you not gonna have with the Most High. Kendra, your relationship with him, it's gonna be different. Y'all gonna talk different. He gonna deal with you. Like you're gonna learn, Junie. If you and Chrissy have another child, the way you deal with the first one is not gonna be the same way you deal with the second, because it's going to be totally different personalities, two different. So a lot of preachers back in the day, what they were doing was forcing the relationship that they had built with God to keep them together. No alcohol, no, I mean, just, oh, you can't do this, you can't go nowhere. I mean, that was the boringest Jesus I ever met.
Listen.
Man.
Boring blue-eyed Jesus. He's too boring.
Right.
So,
Yes.
so the relationship, I think, is important in understanding. Like when people say you have to have a relationship with him on your own, that's what that means. And so many people adopted the preacher is the way, he know the way, he got the direct relationship with God when he was living all inside of you this whole time. People have we're 100 years behind when it comes to spirituality because we adopted a practice that wasn't even a part of who we was anyway.
Yes, from the beginning.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback on what you were saying, Tawana. You said, it's so crazy because it's basically going to be kind of some of what you said, Junie, and some of what you said, Wanda, because even in the Bible, it does say greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So I'm the only one in the world. And if he is within me, then that's what we're talking about. And that goes into the interpretations, Junie, because people take their interpretations from their pastor and make that their Bible. Like, the Bible says this, but my preacher says this, so I got to go by what my pastor says, and that's just it, period. Like, I knew, like, when I was younger, like, I wasn't even able to go to other people's church. Like, I could not go to grandma's church. Like, the only time I would be able to go there is if we had to spend the night at her house for the weekend for whatever reason. But we were only allowed to go there. And when I told my parents, I was like, man, I want to go to a different church. I don't want to go to y'all church no more. They was like, well, don't you love your pastor? I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to go here and I don't want to listen to him anymore. There are so many things that pastors do and say that are contradicting the own Bible itself. Not only that, but some of the things they say also. How you gonna say you love everybody, but you gonna say, oh, this gay man comes into my church, we gonna stone him because he likes my drummer in the church. You're not making any sense. So like I literally heard a pastor say this, like seriously, growing up hearing this. So with me being a gay female or whatever, if you gonna stone that gay man, then I can only imagine what you gonna try to do to me. So let me go ahead and get the hell about your church. But honestly, like, because spirituality and religion has always been a thing, but I never really knew about spirituality. The Christian religion was the only thing that I knew about, and it wasn't until I like kind of left home and I learned about other religions, and I was like, dang, okay, there are other religions. And I talked to a cousin of mine who was studying religion. Like he went to school for that, and he was just like, initially he was like, honestly, they teach that Christianity is the way, the only way, and that's really the only way you're going to get to salvation. But during some of our recent conversations, he's like, I recant that statement because honestly, all religions, their goal is really to just get to heaven or get to the Most High or whatever. But you can obtain that yourself. A lot of people just really put so much strain on the fact that you have to go to church, you have to be Christian, you have to follow this religion. But every religion says the same thing. So when you hear them saying the same thing, and it's just one end goal, it's like, okay.
Mute Junie.
Oh, my bad, y'all.
Finish. And I mean, it just doesn't make sense to do all of that just to kind of have the same end goal. So it's like I gotta walk on eggshells just so that I can do the same thing y'all doing anyways. Like I might as well live my life.
I have a question, and I know Kendra, you want to kind of weigh in, but I have a question for you. As growing up in such a religious family as ours, how was it for you growing up knowing that you had this desire to be in relationships with women, and you were growing up opposed to that whole idea? Like, did you suppress it? Like, what did you think it was wrong? When you finally did decide to come out, did you not care? Did you feel like God was gonna hate? Like, what was that experience for you?
So I was getting to that too. So growing up, I honestly didn't know that I was gay. Like I just knew I didn't like boys. But then when I saw this girl, like a gay couple, I was like, oh shit, you can like girls? Like that's a thing? I was like, oh shit, well, I'm doing that because that makes sense. And then I remember being with my very first girlfriend, and I remember breaking up with her because my parents found out, and my dad was like, this is an abomination, like you're an abomination right now. And I was like, damn. And my mom was like, she and I had gotten into a discussion about something about old church clothes that I had. And I was like, I do not want to wear those. Those are so ugly. Like, they're disgusting. She's like, oh no, what you are is disgusting. And I'm like, damn. So like, I had to sit down and think about that, because those were very hurtful words that I still like. I mean, it doesn't bother me as much, but it did in the beginning. So I'm just thinking like, well, damn, I never thought that I was going to hell. I never thought that deep into it. I was just like, there's no way that God would create me and send me to hell because of what I like. Like, he created me. Like, I don't understand. I know so much gay people in the world, and the gay people that I would see, like, they would be successful too. I remember one time my dad was like, I think I was failing in college or something like that. I kept going in and out. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think I was going like in and out with college or something like that. And he was like, well, the reason you're not successful is because you're gay, basically. And I was just like, that kind of doesn't make sense, because Ellen DeGeneres is gay and she's got more money than you. So I don't understand what this conversation is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of that. And then honestly, a good friend of mine, she kind of helped me through that too. She was like, you know, Simone, shit happens. Like, shit doesn't just happen to you just because you're gay. Shit happens to everybody. Think about it. I kept questioning everything. I was just like, none of this makes sense. Like, how is it that, all right, okay. All right, the pastor's saying, you know, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. But y'all taking up our friend and y'all ain't got no money to fix shit that's broke in the church. Or y'all want a new church and y'all don't have no money for that. Like, I don't understand. If God favors y'all, yeah. If he favors y'all, why y'all ain't got no money to fix the shit? Why y'all begging us for our money? We go and work hard. And this was after I had gotten a job. Like, I was working, and when I got my check, I was buying sneakers and hats and clothes and shit. I wasn't putting money in the church because, like, no. Y'all, I work hard for this shit, y'all. And I gotta give y'all 10% every single check. Every dollar that touched my hand, I gotta give 10%. No. Because it's not even going to God. How God gonna get this money and he's supposed to be up in the sky somewhere? What y'all doing? Y'all faxing the shit to him up there? None of this, nothing made sense. So like I said in the last episode, I swear to God, like, Kendrick, you don't understand. I am so grateful for you, because when you sent me those links to watch Hidden Colors, that shit blew my mind. I was with somebody at the time. Yeah. I was with a girl at the time, and we had been together for a long time too. But once I saw that shit, my mind on religion and spirituality, Christianity had totally changed. And I was trying to get her to understand, and a couple of my other friends, I was trying to get them to understand too. I lost friends behind that. The girl I was with, we broke up behind that, seriously, because I was not the same person anymore. Like, I was still in the same body. I still looked the same, but my mind had completely changed. I was not the same after that. I was like, they lied to us this whole time. They were lying. They were lying this entire time. And then I started seeing movies, and I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it's the Nat Turner movie that came out. And in the movie, the only thing that he
Birth of a Nation.
Yes, Birth of a Nation. So the only thing that he was taught to read was the Holy Bible. So you're pause. You're telling me that I, as an African American, can die if I learn how to read, but you're allowing me to read this one thing, and the one thing is the Bible? You're not educating me on shit else now, but the Bible. You gonna give us that? That says something. That's something seemed fishy about that. So when I started thinking about that, I was like, it just makes so much more sense. The Christianity is really all about control and stuff like that. Because if you think go way back, it's like, you got to think about how this religion was put together. What religion did Africans have before Christianity came here? That's why when we were talking about the pyramids, like, even the cross was taken from the Ankh that was from, like, Egyptology. You know what I'm saying? Like, why y'all stealing shit? Why y'all can't have your own religion? Why y'all can't have your own shit? Y'all stealing shit and changing stories, and a lot of stuff just didn't make sense. And then, like, once I started doing my own spiritual journey, I was like, you know, this Christianity thing is not for me, because I'm not, even me as a person, I'm not a boxed in type of person. Like, it's like, there's so many different levels to me. I have so many different personalities. So I can't just be one person and that's it. So I can't just study one religion and that's it. No, there's so many things that I gain clarity from. And saying that Christianity, the one man-made religion is not it. Just because it's like you can only go but so far. In religion, you plateau. There is no spirituality. Think about the galaxy. The galaxy is so large and so big, but
it's never ending.
Religion, it is never ending. But think about like the one Christian religion. That's all you got. You only got one damn book. And any other book comes from that one book. And it's like, you just saying the same shit over and over. There's no new things that you're put, like, it just, a lot of that shit just didn't make sense. But to answer your question, like, after a while, I didn't care because it was just like, well, shit, if I'm gonna die happy, damn it, shit. I mean, you know. But then once I started learning more, like, okay, there is such thing as spirituality. There are other religions. They're all doing the same thing anyways. I was just like, oh, well, I'm not going to die. My spirit is going to be reincarnated. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do on this earth. That's why I'm here. That's why I was born. That's why I was created. But after that, I was just like, can't nobody say shit to me about religion. And not only that, a lot of my older gay friends, they were so smart. Like, they had been in the game for so long. They have been telling off preachers and Christian family members for a very long time. So I learned from them too. So that's where I came with the, oh, well, you ain't supposed to be eating shellfish. You ain't supposed to be mixing fabrics. Like, all of those stuff literally are in the Bible. Like, they would go back and study the Bible because they were literally looking like, where in the Bible does it say gay people are going to hell? Because I don't fucking see it here. You know what I'm saying? And I had to think about that. Like, damn, you are right. That's where the interpretation comes in. So really, a lot of people go off of the biases of these preachers and stuff like that and make it their own religion. It's like, well, my pastor said that gay is wrong, so gay is wrong. You see that in the Bible? No.
No, the question is, do you really feel like God, the contradictory thing is, if God is love, how does he hate you?
Anyone. Yeah.
Anyone.
And absolutely. And I mean, the reach around that I grew up hearing was that he loves the person but hates the sin. And I think with that, it's like we have to be super careful about the weaponry of this book that could honestly, in its truest, purest form, could make everybody an amazing, much better person, because the Bible's not saying no hateful stuff throughout it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's just like Mon said in the interpretation of it. And then sometimes people will use these elements or use these scriptures and then really hurl this vitriol at you just to try to get you in line. And really then we become the oppressor who made us heel to them, you know what I'm saying, and made us take on like this whole religiosity and everything. And to Simone's point about the kind of back and forth of the statement that her dad made during it, I had the same issue happen. Like, I wasn't getting a job. I ended up having to move back home after I came back from Korea for a little bit because I was applying every single day, right? But then by the time, like I said, I left home and I was not going to church like that. And so I didn't want to go to church on a Sunday. My dad came in the room, closed the door behind him, and he said, you know, you're probably not finding no job because you're not going to church. And I said, what? Like, first of all, let me tell you how much that hurt my feelings so bad. Cause it's like, you really gonna kick me while I'm down already? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I would much rather not be here with all these grown people in this house, you know what I'm saying? But I'm here taking a second so that I can set myself up for my next great move. Exactly. And I wasn't having it. And that's the thing. Sometimes it's a blessing to have two parents that you have maybe some type of relationship with one of them. Because I told my mom this, and then she was like, Junior, that's not right. Like, that wasn't right what he said. And you don't need to take that to heart. You know what I'm saying? But thankfully, like, my mom is able to be progressive in certain elements of how she views things because she's starting to use her own mind instead of the mind that people tried to mold her around. You know what I'm saying? Right. But she's still very much religious, very much church and everything, but she's able to see it with kindness the way that God truly intended it to be. And one of the worst things that anybody out there listening can do with your religion is use it to demean or make someone feel bad about themselves, because that's not its intention. And if you are doing that, you are outside of the will of God. And I can tell you that straight from the heart.
Agreed. I definitely agree with that. I guess that's the thing that really be baffling me. It's like, you really think that the Bible was here for you to try to down me? Like, that's not what that's for. And not only that, honestly, the Bible is a great book. Like, seriously, if you think about the stories that are in the book, a lot of those stories you can kind of make them useful today. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, somebody was telling me about the story of Cain and Abel. No, not Cain and Abel, Adam and Eve, saying that Eve told Adam to eat from the tree of life. And because they did that, they realized they were naked. But they were saying that the tree of life was not really, basically, they were saying that whole thing was about sex. Like, you know, Eve told Adam, let's have sex. And the tree of life was the womb. So from that, of course, Cain and Abel came, of course, after that. But it's just like, you can really take and interpretate this and make it anything you want to make it. Like, but the thing that really gets me is that people really use religion to try to down people. Like, seriously. And then they think they're so right. And it's like, you have not lived. If you're going by this book, you have not lived. So you have no idea about anything, really. Like, you're not speaking from experience. You're speaking from what you heard a pastor say and what you thought you read and what your small brain, small mind interpreted from what you just read, based off of no experience that you can come from that. So, like, if you're telling me, oh, what the Bible says X, Y, and Z, but you don't have any experience to say, well, this is what I interpreted from it. What?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the fact that you are God of your own experience. And once you start taking, responsibility for your own life in all aspects, then you kind of become a different person. You know what I'm saying? So when you go into church and somebody tell you how to live, you're going to be in conflict with yourself all the time for the simple fact that that's not who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And you're God of your own experience because only you live in your body. You know what I'm saying? So everything that comes along with you are things that you will have to kind of go through and understand that, hey, this is a part of my path to get into where I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
That takes so much energy that you shouldn't need anything outside of that, because if you listen to yourself and you're in tune with who you are and that spiritual side, which I think the Bible is kind of like really illustrating, but they're using like, parables to kind of make it digestible to people. But it's being manipulated for the simple fact that people found out that, okay, everybody wants to be part of something bigger than what they are. And if you're not tuned into yourself, you find out that, oh, well, people want to be a part of that. So if I tell them I understand it more than they understand it, then I can control them and me. So I think for the biggest part, I'm hearing from all of our stories is the fact that, okay, once you started questioning the status quo, your life started to change and you kind of got more confidence about who you are. Just for the simple fact that that's when the God started to awaken within you.
Yes.
Aside from the one in the sky that's supposed to be looking over you and with judgment and all these other things that are, it kind of really stunts our growth as a people because you're afraid to try things you want to try. You're afraid to, step out and do things that if you're God that you can do with no problem. But because, oh, well, if I do this, it's against somebody else's will. And I think that's probably the biggest problem I've had with religion over the years, for the simple fact that is, if God doesn't make any mistakes, what's the conversation about after that?
Exactly.
I think it's just as far as the progression of your own mindset goes. Like, I feel like when I was much younger, because of the teachings that I was privy to, like everything that we learned within our sect of religion, I think it always made me feel so small. Whereas the day that I decided that, hey, the Bible even attests to the fact that God does live within you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are made in his image. And then I had to like kind of flip that switch, and it was like, all right, well, if God lives within me, then I have godlike traits that are there just waiting to be enveloped. That means that I shouldn't be scared to go out on this audition. I shouldn't be scared to put myself out there in this instance or anything, because if God's miraculous power lives anywhere else and definitely lives within me, then I got everything that I need before going there. But it was always meant to place God, just like how everyone's been saying, outside of yourself, to where you have to basically kiss someone's ring to have that access. And once you turn that switch on, it's like your life does change, just like Kendrick is saying. So I definitely felt and experienced that myself.
Okay, I wanted to say too, when you start asking those questions, like everybody has been saying, the answers start coming. And spirituality can only meet you where you are. So certain conversations that I have when it comes to Jesus. Now here's the thing. Let me set it straight. I'm gonna hold on to that story that Jesus died on the cross for my sins. I'm gonna hold on. Y'all can't take that from me because I believe it, but not in the literal sense. I believe that Jesus came down here and was an example of being one of the greatest men, just like Nipsey Hussle, just like Martin Luther King, just like Malcolm X, just like Buddha, just like anybody who has the name Mother Teresa, anybody who has the name of greatness attached to it. I just feel like Jesus came down here and did it all in a short period of time. That's why his life was taken. The year 33 is so significant. But I didn't know that growing up, because I didn't know anything about numerology, because that's witchcraft, that's voodoo. I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about evolving as a person in my spirit. I was always taught consequences and never reward. Only reward if I do what they say I had to do or what the Bible said. So I think with spirituality, it meets you where you are. And the more questions you ask, the more insight you receive through books, through people, through, like, sometimes I'll be sitting at my computer just zoned out, going away, and I'll hear something and it lights my spirit up. And I know that ain't nothing but God speaking to me, whispering to me. But let mama tell it. That Bible say, mama, the Bible isn't the only place that gives you knowledge. And the most disappointing thing and disheartening thing for me now that I know what I know, not saying everything is all right, but it's right for me. I want our family members to open their mind to spirituality and knowledge. I always say, Tawana, you can't take Jesus from mom and daddy now. I'm not trying to take Jesus away from them. I just want them to have an open mind spirituality. So I don't know how that conversation will go over, because we began this conversation about how religious our family was and not spiritual. We're way more religious, I think. And I'm not saying because they're religious, nothing has worked for them. Chris Rock went without church for 15 years, and he said that's what true faith looks like. So it's like he was like, I haven't been to church in 15 years, y'all, and I ain't broke. My family ain't broke. We healthy. We living in prosperity, and that's what faith looks like to me. So it's like, how do we get people to the understanding of wisdom in the sense of, okay, we need to be more spiritual than religious?
Here's my thing with that. The only way you're going to ever convince anybody to do anything is to be that thing. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you live a certain way, you're going to catch the attention of people who want to live that way or are curious about that. So there's nothing you can tell somebody. You got to show them. You know what I'm saying? Do the way you live, the way you move, and the way you navigate yourself through the world. Because, I mean, you want to, once you start getting an awakening, you want to kind of help everybody else wake up, but that's not your job. And I think a lot of times you get frustrated and become like the tyrants that we kind of feel some way about. The simple fact that we got this light in us. And we're like, okay, cool. You should be doing it like this too. But that's just not, it might not be their time to wake up. So the energy I think it takes to get to where you want to be, if you're ambitious about life and things of that nature, you just don't really have time. I mean, anybody that's moving towards where you're moving towards and you can give them some game, cool, do that. But we shouldn't take it upon ourselves to try to tell anybody how to live. We got to show them how we live. And if they want to live that way, then they're going to be like, hey, cuz, I'm seeing you doing certain things. And of course, I know everybody on this call is happy to them have a conversation with their family with no problem. So I think the biggest thing, the thing I want to be able to do is kind of live the life that I want to live in such a fashion that everyone that sees that is going to be inspired or it's not going to fuck with you at all.
No, I just wanted to add into what Kendrick was saying, like, based on how religion and spiritual, not even spirituality, but based on how religion and Christianity was kind of given down to our ancestors, and it was kind of forced down their throats. It's just one of the things that I try to remain aware of, that I want to, suggest to anyone listening, is that we don't want to become that which we hate, for lack of a better phrase. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be those people that are trying to force spirituality down these people who are clearly not ready. We can, volunteer what we can in the ways that we can, but it's for me, and I can't make it for anybody else. Like, I can't fit it into their psyche. They're gonna have to come to those realizations all by themselves.
I wanted to piggyback on a few things that you guys said. Of course, I wanted to say that, not the way, and I agree, don't waste your time on those who are not already kind of in a curious state, where they could not necessarily be swayed, but kind of could understand why we think the way we think, because at that time you just wasting your time, because they're already committed to not believing anything that you say based off of just what they know and what they think, what they think they know, and what they think they know about you and what you're going to say. Because if you got to think about it, if you think about it, like, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when they're ready to learn about that stuff, I'm still going to be here, and they're going to, okay, I remember she was saying such and such about whatever. And that's just that on that. There's nothing you can do to make somebody, like, understand, spirituality, because, of course, just like I said, if they've been taught for years and years and years that Christianity is just it, and years and years and years that spirituality is witchcraft, then that's just what they're going to know. You got to think about that. Like, they've been brainwashed to think that way. Another thing I wanted to say is a lot of our family members are probably like that because that's all they know, of course, but it also goes into the actual religion itself. Think about some of the things that they say in the Christian religion. Like, sometimes when something happens to you, they'll tell you to turn the other cheek. Well, that's some weak slave shit. You know what I'm saying? If your master just beat the hell out of you and raped your wife, you're supposed to turn the other cheek and still love your master. Even in the Bible, it says slaves love your master, or slaves obey your master. So there's, like, some things that you could take from it that could be used for good, and some things you can take from it to be like, let me wake up, because something in here don't make no sense. Why would you encourage a slave to obey a slave master if you are a god yourself?
I think the misinterpretation comes in the authority part, because if you're on somebody's job and they tell you to do something because you're trading time for money through that job, you got to listen to them. Mm-hmm. And I think the slave and master, I don't know if it was Hebrew words or Arabic words. I don't know, but I do know that there are certain things within the Bible that we have to incorporate into our life. Because at the end of the day, some things you have to take accountability for when it comes to responsibleness and being a productive citizen in this world. We have to have rules and organizations and structures around how we move. You can't just go to the red light. I don't care if it's the red light. And you can't be skating off on the red light. You're gonna run right into somebody. So I believe boundaries are set, but because they've given it to us the way they want us to perceive it, it has come off in such a way that we are now actually having a conversation about it. And we're in the information age, y'all. We're in the age of information. Information is right at our fingertips. And because of that, the consciousness of the world has risen. And I say that because COVID had to happen. Because this is kind of like a new world theory and a shift is happening, we had to sit our ass down for a minute and start, because at the end of the day, think about it. This world has been around for centuries. You can't keep going the same way. Ain't nothing new under the sun. So we know every 100 years, some type of virus or something comes and resets the mindset, So certain things have to happen in order for this world to continue to evolve. And I feel like COVID had to happen because the consciousness was raised from people like us who is seeking knowledge And the shift, especially with finances, is about to happen. It's already happening. But if we were still fumbling around in the world, that's a gonna get you word, y'all. If we were still fumbling around every day in the rat race, we would have missed what we should have been taking in as far as the shift is concerned.
Other thing I wanted to talk about was how you were talking about Malcolm X and how the whole Jesus Christ complex. What I totally agree with that. Look at this one, you're fussing. But no, I agree with that, because if you think about it, each one of us that kind of see ourselves as greatness, or that kind of inspire other people, or that go through certain sacrifices just to be that one person that people look up to for advice, or just for anything, you can label yourself, or can be labeled as a Christ. Malcolm X was a Christ. And then you got to think about that Jesus was a Christ as well. And Christ is not a name. Christ is a title. You got to remember that. So when I say Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, hell, I even consider myself to be a Christ, because I made the sacrifices as being the gay child in the family, or the gay child, the gay daughter, or whatever, and still overcoming so many things. Like, I'm the only person in my house that has a college degree, like the only person, you know what I'm saying? I went through hell and high water to get there. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that for status reasons or anything like that, but it just is what it is. So a lot of people can refer to themselves as the Christ, but it's not like they're saying, oh, well, I am the Jesus Christ. Like, a lot of people gave, what's this nigga? Kanye West. A lot of people gave him shit because of how he was saying he was Jesus. But he was, like, you got to think about that. Kanye West was a god to his people. Like, to the people that are his fans, they worship him. Think about how people worshiped Michael Jackson. They worship, like, would come to his concerts and be falling out and stuff like that, passing out and stuff like that.
Cody, I want to interject this really quickly into your statement. Kanye was the only rapper that came out on Main Street. His music, that song, Jesus Walks, it was one of the only, he made a statement with that. And didn't even, when he made the song, he didn't care about no religion, spiritual, Christianity. He made a song that he liked, and it came out, and he was unashamed about it. And it did really well, and it propelled his career even more. So go ahead. I just wanted to add that.
People would always call Kanye West crazy. But now everybody on his meat, because he's the richest Black man in America right now. You know, like, it's mind boggling. You know what I'm saying? I know people gave him shit when he was saying, like, slavery was a choice. I'm not sure how everybody else feels, but in my mind, slavery was a choice. You had a choice to either be a slave, or you had a choice to rebel and kill your slave owners. And there were some people that was like, I'm not being no slave. You know what I'm saying? They made that then and there is when they made their decision, like, I don't have to be a slave. I'm not going to. We're going to get together. We're going to kill our slave master. And that's just going to be that on that. And a lot of people gave him shit for that, because they don't think on his level. You know what I'm saying? Him as a Christ, other Christs would think like that. Those who are not Christ-like wouldn't think like that. You know what I'm saying? Those who aren't on his level, like, okay, well, we could do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is something that can be done and has been done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if, like, all the slaves knew about everything that was going on, but there was, like, like, the people that were involved in slave revolts, those were the people that knew that slavery was a choice that they were not going to choose. That's all I got to say about that.
So what I was saying about the slave masters and the people that did rebel and say, you know what, I'm not taking this shit no more. If we fast forward that instance to 2021, and you're looking at all the people that are starting businesses and saying, you know what, I don't want to work a regular 9 to 5. That's not I can't do it. Me and 9 to 5s, we don't get along, because I'm going to take late lunches.
Yep.
I'm going to do what I want to do, but I'm going to be really good at my job. Even though I'm efficient, I still on a job, it's just not flexible enough for me in my life. Yep. So I decided to start a business. So I think just to kind of correlate everything you just said with, okay, Kanye is misunderstood and people worship him and this and that or whatever, because they understand his mindset of not just sitting back and just letting life happen to them. And as a Christian, it's like, that's one of the things that they teach you. They teach you Just sit back, pray, wait on God, and He'll make it happen. Instead of you saying, you know what, for me, 9 to 5 wasn't working, so I decided to start my own business because I knew everything that I was doing as an insurance consultant with State Farm, I could do for myself. Right. So versus laying down and saying, Lord, I want to quit my job. Please, Jesus, help me. I went within and said, okay, let me figure out how to make $3,500 a month so I can pay my bills on my own.
I think one of the big things that that I think we all have to keep in mind is that because I'm one of the people that didn't agree with Kanye when he made that statement, and to our major point of the whole religious aspect of things, you kind of don't know things until you know them. And so with those slaves, they were systemically oppressed, and that was the beginning of systemic oppression, meaning that there was a system built around them that they just were literally dropped into. They didn't know that there was any difference. A lot of them were born into slavery. They were born subservient to a massa. And, just like how we were born into our religion, it didn't happen until it happened. And so it's not that we were choosing to not be spiritual until we were spiritual. It just hadn't happened for us yet. And I think that's one of the important things that we have to remember as far as choice goes in the world. And one of the things that we have to remember about, how we can get all of our family members, peers, and anyone that will hear us to look at life in a different way. It's like they're not going to be ready for it till they are ready for it. And we have to make sure that we're extending that grace, even in the midst of it all.
Right. And even in that, like once you just like you were saying, you were like, you don't really know until it happens. But once it happens, then is where the choice is being made. It's like, okay, I have this newfound knowledge. Oh God, these people are killing their slave masters. That is something that can be done. Or I can just stay here and be a slave. I eat good, master treat me right. Master might fuck my wife or whatever, but at least I ain't got to die. Master don't kill us. But I know I can kill. I still have the knowledge that I can get my brothers and sisters together and we can kill Master. That's still a thought. And in that moment, you make a decision. You choose, fuck this, we killing Master, or fuck this, I'm gonna still be a slave, Master. You can fuck my wife again. I'm sorry, Master.
But I think here's the thing with that though, because that we're thinking from the informational technology like world that we live in currently. If a master got killed by a slave, you ain't know because you have your own master. That was their master. Right. So how did that news get back to you?
That's what I was saying.
In the process, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think as far as choice goes in the realm of slavery, I feel like the only choices that were made was when Harriet Tubman was like, yo, we need to go now. And people chose to not go. That is the only realm in slavery where I feel like there was a legitimate choice that people made. Because I'm sure if the next master from the next plantation over got killed, you probably weren't going to hear about that. And there were systems in place to make sure that you weren't going to hear about it. Because everybody who remained on the plantation got their legs chopped off, got killed, whatever, to make sure that it didn't spread. And that's one of the crazy things about religion. It's spread in such an aggressive, forceful way. Like you had the Spanish Inquisition that literally the whole goal was to make sure that, hey, we're going to spread this Catholicism and this religion that we have to all these countries that quote unquote need it, but we're going to do it by force, and whether it's by physical force or mental manipulation, there's only a specific way to make sure that we are able to be safe as religion is passed down from person to person.
Wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying, but the thought and the feelings that pop up in my mind as we are having this conversation, it's so easy. Like you said, the slaves were born into slavery. We were born into the Gibbs family of being Christians, and we didn't even know what it was until we was in church every night of the week. But my mom wasn't always saved. You understand what I'm saying? So she had to learn this way of life from somebody. Your mom ain't always been saved. They had to learn it, and they learned it and held on to it for their life. If somebody, and it amazes me how this conversation going back from religion to slavery to modern day now, how with Black people, it's so easy for us to hold on to something that may not be good for us. And when the truth is revealed, we refuse to acknowledge what it is.
That's the choice.
No matter if a preacher get up on stage and say, okay, this is how you should live, this is what you should do, and you're going to hell if you don't do that, altar call pack. But a person of consciousness and wisdom who believes in spirituality get up and say, y'all know that you should be studying this because it teaches you that. Oh no, that's witchcraft. That's that. I ain't know about that. You're so ready to reject it. And I that correlation, you know, it keeps me baffled at how y'all can hold on to this and not want to accept that.
See, the thing is about all of this is it's all about controlling somebody else.
Yeah.
And until you choose yourself as an individual, okay, well, this is not really working out for my best interest. So let me really tap into who I am and trust a voice coming outside of me and start seeing how that works. Because again, nobody else is going to tell you a positive way to be able to live your life. That's if it's not going to benefit them in some way. So we owe it to ourselves as responsibility for us to live your own life. You have to have a mission for your life, or a end goal, and you need to focus on that. Everything else is just kind of like everything else until you reach those goals. And I think that as people seeing you move towards that, then you're going to inspire those people to kind of follow along. People who don't follow along, it's not your job to really, recruit them. You're going to recruit people that you're supposed to recruit by your moves, and you live in the way you're supposed to.
To speak to what Tawana was saying, because we're honestly the modern day versions of those people who did not choose to. Once we gained the knowledge, we didn't stay in slavery. We knew, like, okay, well, we can stay on this job and still be slaves to this job system here, or we can go out and do our own thing and find our own way. Like, all of us on this call are modern day versions of those slaves, honestly, because you're still, like, honestly, we're still living and we're still slaves to something in some way, shape, or form. But again, we just decided not to be slaves under that particular systematic form of slavery. Like the whole job, the 9-to-5 job market, like that for me was a no. Like no, that wasn't it for me, because I've had so many jobs. Hell, even on Carrie, I worked for my aunt and I got fired from her damn job because that was not for me. Like, but I made the decision, like, okay, well, no jobs, or if I am going to get a job, it's going to be a job where I'm flexible enough to do other things that I want to do because that's what I want to do. You know what I mean?
I think one of the key parts of even this whole conversation is that I feel like when you are at certain places and statuses in life, and your I guess extenuating circumstances are one thing, you start to seek out something. And I think a lot of the things for our parents who weren't birthed into Christianity, that there was a time in their life where they needed something. They needed to feel something greater than themselves. And just at that right moment, maybe an evangelist came by, or maybe, a pastor came on the radio. But had that voice been a more spiritual voice, I wonder what could have happened from that relation. You know what I'm saying? It's like the origin story of their relationship with religion. It could have gone anyway based on who was around them. Anything that will make you feel better in this life that can honestly be and feel like hell sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been some super low parts that I've been able to lean deeper into my spirituality and lean deeper into the fact that I know that it's not just me going through this. Like, there is, God leading me at my back to make sure that I'm going to be all right in the end. And if you don't have that belief, then it's just like Kendrick was saying, like, what is it all for, Just
to kind of go back to what Kendrick was saying, this really isn't our job to try to change anyone's mind. I do find it hard to try to kind of change people's mindset on certain things. Like, I don't want you to just cancel Jesus. Like, that's not what I'm here for. I just want you to know that there are other ways that work for me, that showed me that the way that you had set out for me did not work for me. And I just want you to see what this is. And and if you can benefit from it, cool.
And Moni, just to kind of piggyback, when Kendrick brought the law of attraction through Rhonda Byrne to me, I was receptive. It wasn't because I was just so interested in learning how to make things happen for my life. It was because somebody that I trusted. See, in sales, the way you gain sales is to trust. If that person don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you.
Right.
But if they trust you, they're going to say, okay, this person may know something that I don't know. And because he read something that I didn't know, and he gave that to me, I wasn't thinking about, oh, I'm gonna hold on to Jesus and the Bible. I wasn't thinking that. I was just like, okay, let me see what Kendrick is trying to bring to me, because it gotta be good. Because if he's like, Tawana, read this book. You read that book yet? Tawana, you didn't read the book yet? Tawana, read the book. If he's giving me that, then because I love him as my family member and I trust him as a person, first thing I'm gonna do is read that book, and I'm gonna take everything in that book and apply it, because you can read as much as you want, but if you what you've learned, then it's pointless. So I do believe that there is a little bit of ignorance going on when it comes to people in the Christian and religious market, because they want to be comfortable, complacent in that. And not, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I was that person. Tamara and Tara, my sister, I always say Tamara and Tara. If y'all hear me talk about Tamara and Tara, they're my two sisters. I'm the oldest of them. But Tamara and Tara was like, when I was pregnant with my last son, I went so far right, I didn't know my left from my right. I was so like just obsessed with the Bible and telling people what they do. You know, you shouldn't be doing that. That was like you, like just you. And I threw myself, and this was the time I was going through a lot in my current marriage. I was going through hell, and I was praying and I was believing, and ain't shit changed. I was going to church. I was reading my Bible. I was doing the good deeds. I was doing all of that shit. But I still was catching hell from my husband. For me, when that information was presented to me, I grabbed the whole of it, I took it, and then it started to evolve. So we can say all this, oh, you gotta meet them where they at. Yeah, that's true. I believe that wholeheartedly. You know, things show up where you are. But I also believe ignorance plays a lot in our community as a people, because we want to hold on to familiarity.
Agreed. I can even piggyback on that too, because honestly, like, I had tried everything. Like, I had tried everything. I had tried going to church, tried catching the Holy Ghost, like, tried, like, praying, like, well, Holy Ghost, like, come on, me too. Like, I want to, like, I just want to be super spiritual. I just want to be calm in life. I want to be chill. Like, I want to not have any worries. I want to be blessed by certain things. Like, I wanted it so bad, and nothing worked for me. Nothing. I still like girls. You know, I still wanted to do what I was doing anyways. And it was just like, none of this shit is working. Like, why not? But, oh, Lord, Lord, Lord. Thank God for the God in Kendrick Snipe, because when he blessed me with that thing, I'm telling you, that thing changed my life. I was like, everything started to make sense. Like, it was like all of the answers, like, and then it's so crazy, because even when he gave me all three of those, he was just like, look, cuz you probably won't be able to watch them all in one day, because that's a lot to take in. And I was like, nigga, you know who the fuck I am? Like, ain't nothing. Bruh, I watched that first one and my mind was so blown. It literally probably took me like a month to watch them all for real, because I was just like, hold on, let me pause and rewind. Let me write that down. Let me research that, because it's literally like a class. Because all of the information that they're giving you, you almost don't want to believe it. So when it got to the religion part on the first part, I was just so mad. I was like, they have been lying to us for all these years. And then it was like, it goes even further. It's like, all of the books in the Bible are not all the books. You telling me that there's some that's in the Quran that's supposed to be, oh, they've been lying to us. And like, I was so angry. I remember being so angry, because everybody's a liar. Like, I was like going ham on Christian. Like, I was like really out of this world. And I really think that's kind of like, that happens like when you're coming into your consciousness and coming into your awakening, I guess. It's like, once you start learning the truth, you're so pissed. Like, I was angry. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I was so angry. Anybody would talk about some Jesus shit, I'd be like, get your ass away from me with that white Jesus shit. Like, I did not want to hear it. Like, but because I'm more spiritual now, because I'm more spiritual now, it just, everything makes sense. Like, I'm not as crazy as I was. Like, I have a better understanding because I've also evolved from the person I was before. So it's like, I have newfound knowledge with the knowledge I grew up knowing and the knowledge that I learned, you know, after seeing Hidden Colors and doing my own research and actually looking at things totally different from a new spiritual mindset. It was just like a lot, like seriously. But it was also because I was receptive, and I was receptive because everything that I had learned was not working. And I was like, anything could work at this time. I had even talked to one of my cousins. I was like, listen, I'm gonna switch religions. I don't know which one, but this Christian shit is not the fuck it, bitch. Let me tell you that. So I was like, something has got to give. And then the whole spiritual thing, it was just like, okay, it's so broad. It's not, you don't have to be boxed in one religion. You don't have to read just one book. You can gain knowledge from several books, gain knowledge from several experiences, from several other people that have had so much years of experiences as well, and are not confined to just one religion, because I don't want to plateau. I want to be able to experience everything that I'm supposed to experience and not have looked at it from I guess like just one religion. Like, okay, well, I'm Christian and my Christian religion said this is not going to work, so it shouldn't work. Like, no, like seriously.
You have to look at everything in a holistic. As you become whole yourself, everything you look at is going to be from a bird's eye view versus being in the forest with the trees. You know what I'm saying? So the more you evolve as a person, the more you kind of go inside yourself. That's why I'm so adamant now about not trying to. I talk to people who want to talk to me about certain things, but I'm not going out of my way to talk to anybody about anything. I move, so if you're attracted to that movement and you come to me for some information, I feel like people appreciate it and it kind of sticks to them more, because it's always going to be a painful, that turn from one way of thinking to another is super painful. That's why people won't do it. It's a very painful thing, and you do it more than once as you evolve. If you're not having that pain every few years, then you probably die.
Oh yeah. Totally yes.
But each time you come out of that, you're going to be a more I think you'll be more godlike each time you go through, I guess, the fire and brimstone of change and evolution. Basically, it's a painful process. Yeah, it's definitely a process.
For sure, y'all. I know that we're coming up on our hour mark, but I know that a lot of the conversation has lent itself to us talking about our past experiences with religion and how they haven't been so great. But I want everyone to go around and see, has there been anything that you can take from that stage of life and bring it into your new stage of life of spirituality, or even as you teach your next generation, your kids, your nieces, your nephews, whomever, something that you learned from a religious upbringing that you felt strong enough and convicted enough to hold on to moving forward?
Yeah, I was just going to say their consistency. That's one thing that I would say. Certain churches, certain denominations are extremely consistent, and they were consistent about always going to church. Like the past, like honestly, there was always going to be church on Sunday, whether or not the pastor would be there, and they would have to have a minister come in for them. One thing I knew and guaranteed, there was going to be church. The only time it wasn't is if there was like a natural disaster or like what we have going on, the pandemic. You know, other than that, they were very consistent. And that is something that I did not take from them, because I took all of the bad and was just, let me just dismiss church all the way, except for they were consistent. They was going to church on Sunday. If there was church on, I'm telling you, there was church on Wednesday, there was church on Friday, there was rehearsal or something on Saturday, Sunday. If we had a revival, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, they were consistent. That's one thing I can say I could take from that. And one thing that I learned from my mom, who's like very deep in the church, is just to be very calm about certain things. Like, some things don't always deserve a reaction. Like, things can happen to you, that's okay, but you just got to learn from that, you know, and just be calm in that. And I guess that's where the godlike come from. But then I was just thinking about how Jesus was when he went to the temple and them boy been doing all that shit in the temple. Boy, Jesus caught up on them boys, so he turned up on them boy like he was not. So he wasn't always calm. Let me just say that. Like he turned the fuck up on them boy here. Like so. Besides that, definitely consistency is what I would definitely share that with them. Like if you're gonna do something and this is what you about and this is what you really on, like be consistent with that.
I guess the one that I would want to volunteer is kind of piggybacking on Moan's is discipline. You know, growing up in a religious household definitely taught me a style of discipline that I could use in my everyday life. Like if you want to start your own business, if you want to do anything for yourself that nobody's going to force you to do, you got to be disciplined. Just like I had to be disciplined to, memorize the 66 books of the Bible and, learn these scriptures and all of these things. There were actual fundamental practices that I started when I was in church that I didn't necessarily get from a school situation. And I think that's great. And that's something that I definitely want to, in addition to just the fact that there is a higher power that's greater than you, and you don't have to feel so alone in the world out here. And that's those two things are definitely things that I will always take. And then gospel music. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how can you not have gospel music? Let's go.
Yes, I still love gospel music to this day. Like, yeah. Oh, even honestly, Junie, when you just said you sent something to me the other day. You was like something in his name, and I was like, "Oh snap, that's an old song." I literally that day went and downloaded that song in his name, and I was jamming that whole day. Like I was like, "Damn!" Like Kurt Carr, like Kirk Franklin, Eagles, them niggas. Like seriously, okay, that's big time.
If God is inside of me, okay, let me do this. Let me create this. Small things at first. You go through the growing pains of actually making an intention and creating small things first, but then over time you start seeing that, okay, well, let me try this again. It's a little bigger, but let me go ahead and take the same steps to create a new outcome for myself. And it always worked. So the more you kind of start demonstrating, you start finding more information and have more conversations with other people who are actually experiencing the same things. How do I know what to create, things of that nature, if I don't really know who I am? So it kind of like it starts the rabbit hole that, okay, if you want to get to know God, then get to know God.
Mm-hmm. I'm next to go last because I gotta see. But all y'all points of consistency, discipline, inquisitiveness, I can see that all being rooted from our religion. For me, my mama is a praying mama. She is halapakasia 6 o'clock in the morning, walking up and down her house every morning. You get in at 5 o'clock, she halapakasia praying to God every morning. And for me, her faith, she taught me the biggest thing I learned from religion is faith. And I say that because when you hear about the parables or the stories to bring insight, to make it applicable to our lives. Jonah being inside of a whale, did that really happen? I don't know, but guess what? I believe it because he got out of that damn whale. I believe that. I believe that when Jesus walked up on a fig tree because he was hungry, ain't no fig been on that tree, he cursed that tree to the root. But he wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't have faith that his words had power. Mm-hmm. So for me, faith is the biggest thing. It's all around my home, everywhere. Faith, peace, joy, happiness. All those things are in my home, and they're the fruit of the spirit, which comes from. So faith for me, once I started taking on Jonah was in the belly. Sarah old ass had a baby at 90. That was faith. Who else? Oh, Noah. He was a drunk, but he built the ark. You understand what I'm saying? That was faith. He heard something to him. You need to build this ark because the rain coming. So his leap in God to say, okay, God knew what he talked about. Let me do this. How is it that a man gets each and every single animal 2 by 2, the mate, that ain't nothing but God. That ain't nothing but faith. And so once you take those stories and you apply it to your life, my mom got stage 4 cancer. She got cancer in 4 different places, 2 in her lungs, 1 in her groin area, 1 in her knee. And she walk around here like, cancer? Oh, I gotta go to my doctor's appointment next. You understand what I'm saying? Faith. Faith brought me from sleeping on my ex-husband's couch for a year and 45 days to being in my own home, rent paid up for 6 months. Faith. So for me, I don't want to discredit Christianity because I learned a lot. It was the foundation of my mom shaping me into being a productive individual and a person that walks in righteousness, not self-righteousness, but just, you know, you got to do right by people in order for good things to happen to you. Point blank, you got to do right.
Oh, yes.
But you can't be doing fuck shit to people and think that goodness is going to come to you. It don't work. Life don't work like the laws of the universe don't work like that.
Absolutely.
So, faith. That's what I'll say. That was good, Junie.
Oh, of course. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We've had an excellent conversation today. I'm so happy. I'm proud of us.
I guess next time, that was fun. I hope it was interesting. I hope you guys were able to kind of look into yourself. And I'm sure you guys probably having the same conversations with friends, family, and people in general. This is just us as family coming together, talking about this all. So we really hope it was insightful. And next show, what we talking about next, y'all? What we talking about next?
Yeah, we'll find it out in the chat. I got to look and see what lighthearted things we got because we got a whole lot of heavy.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was. And I hope it was insightful to everyone. So next time, y'all, hey, cousin.
Hey,
cousin.